Hey everybody, October here with a big Dota 2 patch notes. It's been a few years since I did a video, but this patch was highly anticipated. We've gone through a few patch droughts with one patch lasting over a year almost, and now this patch is here. I've been playing Dota for over 10 years, and this patch is big. It's pretty big. I looked at it a little bit, but I just wanted to go over some of these changes because, man, it is exciting to just have so many changes all at once. So here is the Dota 2 page. I'm not going to watch the trailer, but it is huge. All right, so taking a look, the first thing is the map changes. So there's not one, but two Roche pits. This is kind of crazy. The map is, somewhat symmetrical now. You can see the bases with the boxes here, some new elements, but I'm not sure about what Roche, how this works. So I guess he only spawns in one pit, either the north pit or the south pit. And he drops cheese on his second death, and his third death, he drops a shard or scepter, depending whether he's in the north or the south pit. Now, this is pretty crazy. Roche has gone all over the map, and usually it's been kind of somewhat in the center. So now it's getting pushed to the corners, and historically, the corners, I would say, didn't have a lot of action in them. They are the farthest parts of the map away from the bases, respectively. At some point, there was the secret shop over here that, because you were so far from everything, they put a little shop where you can buy a couple of small items to keep the pace of the game interesting. But speaking of which, some of the things that they've included in here is this new thing, the Twin Gate. They connect the corners of the map near the safe lane towers, allowing players to teleport instantly. I don't know what instantly is. It's probably like a channel time and then go across the map. But this is interesting. Now you're traversing a huge part of the map. I don't think this is going to cost TP, gold, or mana. I think it's just one of those things where you just channel. And oh my gosh. So this game would be extremely chaotic if the map was still close together, but they said that this map is 40% bigger. We have two watchers. These are like towers that you can capture that provide vision. Um, one is favored for the other side, so it's favored for the safe lane. So the watcher here is favored for the Dire. The watcher down here is favored for the Radiant. And we also have the Lotus pools, which is interesting. One quick note about the Watchers, you can somewhat destroy it to temporarily disable it. So this is kind of interesting because they, when you attempted a Roche attempt, people would drop wards outside to spot the pit. But now that we've got the Watchers, you can't just drop those items to spot vision. You have to capture it or destroy it for a vision advantage, which pretty much tells people that, hey, either you're preparing to Roche or there's a little bit of more direct bluffing, I would say, because before, if someone's off the map, you don't know if they're Roshing or not. I'm not sure if this has true sight. It just has visions for 7 minutes. So yeah, there's a whole timing, a whole counterplay with vision in the pit. And I would say this would be pretty interesting, pretty strong if it was only one pit. There's actually two pits. So we'll see. Man, this is going to be really exciting for competitive. Lots of changes here. We got the Lotus pools. So these spawn fruit that give mana and HP. And you can stockpile the fruit and combine it into higher, larger fruit. This is interesting. So it's basically like a water rune, but you can combine them and make them bigger. And the fact that it's right next to Roche is interesting because you can use it to Roche, or in the late game, If you're about to die or something, I guess you can come back and refill here in one of the corners of the map. So basically, you have 3 corners of the map that you can control. You can control the map a little bit better without, going all the way back to the base. So it feels much like a battlefield. The river really separating the 2 sides of the map here, and you can really defend and, it's I would say it's easier to defend here. We got the Wisdom Runes, explore the edges of the map to unearth Wisdom Runes, which grant XP boosts. So it's a little bit like a tome. Or any hero wise enough to steal one. Ooh, okay. So there's a little roamers can benefit from this. They spawn near your base, using an easy to defend way to keep a losing game from spinning out of control. I'm not sure that people will use position and late game death timers and buyback for XP, but we'll see how much it actually gives and how much of an advantage it really is. A new objective here. We got Tormentors. So these 2 powerful neutrals creep spawn at near each base after 20 minutes. And they have a lot of Aghanim shards, both belly full Aghanim shards. So I guess there's 2 shards, but there's a catch. The catch is that there's 2 catches. Tormentors are equipped with Mega Shields, which reflect most of the damage you throw at them. So I already anticipate healers being a little bit more popular because in the previous metagame, there wasn't much interaction against healing. I don't know if Shiva still reduces healing, but I know it was Scotty and Spirit Vessel, and those are not the most popular. You don't get that item on everyone. So maybe healers become strong this patch. 2, they grow stronger every time you kill them. So I don't know if that's so much a catch. I think that's just a balance thing. So you don't farm shards when some person is really strong. But we'll see. We'll see if people can solo this at some early level. We'll see if you actually need your entire team. But if you have a watcher here, you can see if the team is doing it and kind of contest. So this is close to the base here. We've got one of these. This is called the Defender's Gate. So it's like a one-way portal for the team. Enemy can't go in, but you can go out. This is interesting. I don't know if you can destroy this or not, but this area is interesting because there's a gate here that gives you the access to all these resources. And in the late game, it's really boring when you just have to stay high ground. So they give you a chance, like, okay, we have the turtle, and we're so close to the base. If we can't really do anything, we might as well try doing Tormentors and capturing the Watching Tower here. So that's going to be interesting. I think one of the most boring things that can happen as a support is when everyone in the game is so strong, except for you. And if you walk outside your base, there's a chance you just instantly die. So you just have to stay in the base and do nothing. So these couple of things are something to do here. So we talked about, so we have some new outposts here. These outposts, I believe you can teleport to. I think they're just original outposts. They're new locations. If you can capture them after tier 2, that's very interesting. And now there's 2 outposts. One's next to the Roche, but kind of behind, closer to the safe lane base. And one's kind of in that jungle area that that's helpful with control. So the map is so big, I think these outposts will play a critical role in controlling an area or defending an area. But with the 6-second TP, if that's still the same, and with the twin gates, there's just a lot of options to move around the map now with TP scrolls, twin gates, and all that stuff. We have a new type of rune here. Shield runes give you 50% of your max HP as a barrier. This is very interesting. This is a helpful tool for initiators, especially tanky offlaners. If you grab this, you're 3,000 HP, now you have a 1,500 shield. That's pretty crazy, and you don't have to be afraid to go in, and that's exciting because people usually would want to do wait for a double damage or a haste or a regen or arcane, but this is a rune made just for the offlaners. So hold on. So we talked about the Roche, Twin Gates, Lotus Roots. And can I just say, like, these designs look really cool. This is definitely from the anime. This looks like something from another game. Probably like, yeah, these look something. They fit the theme, but man, if I didn't know any better, these League and Dota are starting to look pretty similar. Yeah. Wisdom Rune looks kind of cool. Field Runes. 12 new creep camps. This is crazy. For the Zoo people and the Doom players and all that stuff. New creeps, new abilities. Very interesting. Okay, look at this. This is one of the craziest. I don't know. I would say it's crazy. New hero type attributes. So there is a fourth attribute called Universal Heroes. The main stat group composed of existing heroes that now gain 0.6 damage from each stat of any attribute. So what the hell is going on here? It shows Vino and Phoenix. This is interesting. These heroes, they benefit from their main stat, I would say. You know, Vino attacks fast, and Phoenix has this HP, which works with all that stuff, and they're not really known for their attack or all that stuff, or mana pool or even. So I actually don't know what this is, but this seems pretty huge to me. So I mean, yeah, what kind of bonuses are you gonna get from your primary attribute? But this one is universal. BKB rework. This is quite the change. A lot of people had complaints with BKB when you popped it. There wasn't much counterplay to it unless you had some sort of BKB answer. Now things are answerable to BKB. So it grants 50% magic resistance. So you could still do damage to somebody. It's just half damage. So, you know, nukes, they'll take 50% less. So, but that's only if it goes through debuff immunity or spell immunity. So we'll see. While it's active, it negates effects from debuffs don't affect you. Plus, you have immunity from pure and reflective damage. But be careful if BKB expires before the duration of any of the debuffs. The debuffs will apply for whatever duration is left. So, Silencer can actually cast his spell on someone here, I think. But, you know, they're not going to... I don't really know what this is, but I think you can use abilities on people with BKB. It just doesn't affect them for the duration, and then whatever leftover you have will carry on. So that will be interesting. But what this says here, effects that pierce magic immunity also pierce spell buff, spell or pierce debuff immunity. So there's still, I think, exclusions apply to what can actually go through BKB, because everything goes through BKB. I don't think it's that strong of an item anymore. So we'll see actually how that works. I'm not gonna look too much into it, but a lot of people have, you know, complained about this, especially my close friends. And, you know, they've been answered. Neutral item drops reworked. Very interesting. So now you can killing a neutral creep drops a random token and lets you choose from 5 of the available neutral items. And an item can't be shared. So I think what they noticed is like... I don't know if normal neutral items will drop now, but I guess if you have the choice, you don't have to wait around for RNG. It's a little more precise, but the downside is you can't share the items. But that's interesting, because someone could just pick Philosopher's Stone every game for support. Neutral creep scaling. Okay. Neutral creeps and their abilities, whoa, now scale over time. Yes, camps will get harder to wipe out as the game goes on, but heroes with the ability to control creeps are going to have serious backup. I don't know about this. This is breathing life into heroes like Chen or Enchantress, I guess. You know, they don't fall off so quick anymore, I guess. And I wonder if they scale, the golden XP will also scale. I assume yes, but it slows down the game and kind of levels it out to a more standard timeline. Like a linear timeline, I would say, instead of like an exponential one. So I actually kind of do like that change. it makes the journey from minute 0 to the end of the game a lot more less chaotic, less variable. Now, kill formula reworked. We've reworked the kill formula to make early game kills more impactful and motivate players to gank other lanes. We've also reduced gold scaling for lane creeps, making creep farming less profitable as the game progresses, and encouraging players to beat the gold out of each other instead. In my pubs, this scares me because people are just gonna fight all the time. But watching competitive Dota is gonna be interesting. There's gonna be a lot more fighting, I guess, and a lot more risk taking because it might be worth it to just go for a gank rather than farm all game. And this last one here, unstunning feature. Playing your hero is always fun. Blah 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 blah. So they've reduced the duration of every disable in the game. They've reduced the duration of every disable in the game. Did you disable black hole? Did you disable overgrowth? Like, this is what is this? Is the cooldowns like tinkered? Is Avenge stun going to be like only 1 second? Like, we'll see. This is a lot of balancing to come all at once. I mean, there is a lot that we talked about already, like the map and all that stuff. But just from this one change, it changes so much. This early game patch, or this early patch, if you play on it, it's going to be so chaotic. In the next patch, they're going to do so many changes, so many updates, just because they've, tinkered with so many variables. And I think stun duration, all stun duration is quite the variable to tinker with. Yay, my favorite, Muerta. So after 2 months, wow, she's been here for 2 months already. She gets Aghanims and a shard. This is a lot to talk about. They nerfed her a little bit, and that's okay because she's pretty strong, stat-wise. So she's gonna get nerfed out of somewhere. So they're gonna tinker with the durations on her spells. She has an Aghanim Shard that gives you 30% lifesteal for the duration of Pierce the Veil. That's interesting because if you don't kill Morta, she could pop her ult, but if you get the shard, she gets a pretty sizable lifesteal. Not satanic level, but she does so much damage that she's gonna gain a lot of spell lifesteal anyway, because her auto attacks are magic. And she permanently gains 2% spell amp every time she kills an enemy hero during Pierce the Veil, or an enemy dies within 925. So I feel like they have to die during this ult. So that's cool. They're adding more permanent stackable buffs, like for Slark and all that stuff. Her Ags, she can shoot someone in the soul, separating them from their body for 4 seconds. They're untargetable, muted, disarmed, invulnerable, so they're pretty much phased out. The body is stunned and has a 50% damage reduction. I'm not sure what that means. If they're untargetable, muted, disarmed, invulnerable, can they move? No, they're stunned. They can't move, but they can still take damage at a 50% reduction. So maybe it's like Dark Willow Shadow Realm, where you can still AoE it, but it's 50% reduction. After this effect, Soul is forcefully returned to the body, which applies a strong dispel, removing negative debuffs and stuns. So this could save someone. She can't use it on herself, and it doesn't damage people. And it does 300 damage, and it can... well, this is a very powerful disable, first of all. It can take out a hero for 4 seconds if they haven't BKB'd yet. Or maybe they have BKB'd and you can still shoot them. So when you're playing Muerta, it's all about the 1v1 or the 1v2 against other core heroes. So having this tool to like disable one of those heroes for quite a while can make the hero very strong. I don't know if this will hit competitive, but I think teams are definitely going to try. We got Clinks here. They gave him a new basic ability: Strafe, Death Pack, Skeleton Walk, Burning Barrage. So they just keep messing with this hero all the time. I'm gonna see if there's anything strong here. I mean, this is a lot of text. I don't even play Clinks, so this was one of the heroes where they don't really do anything. They farm all game. And as long as you have a couple items late game, like Gleipnir, Hex, Crit, you just play him like a spellcaster, a physical spellcaster. Skeleton Walk is an ultimate ability. Okay, that's interesting. Duration increase, bonus movement increase, mana cost increase, cooldown rescaled, summons burning skeletons when you come out or when you go in, not sure. Burning Barrage is a shard instead of a thing. Oh, sick. So they brought back Strafe. So Strafe is the buff, and he's gonna start shooting people. But the new spell, we'll take a look at this. The Tar Bomb throws a projectile that does magic on damage or magic damage on impact. Oh, and it commands everyone to attack that person. Very cool. The area around them is also covered in tar for 5 seconds. Any enemy that walks across the tar gets slowed. Additional physical damage by Clinks or skeleton archers persists and affects buildings. Wow. Okay, so I think Clinks had a real issue of not being able to like hurt people by himself, or I should say control people by himself. Now he's got a slow and a damage amp on towers and all that stuff. So he's very interesting. For pick-off style people, I think Clinks is something to reconsider. Arc Warden, I actually haven't seen a lot of Arc Warden in the last patch in my bracket. I don't know if didn't really see him in competitive either, but I think they tinkered with him. So all Tempest doubles abilities are replaced with Tempest versions of Arc Warden's abilities. Oh, so it's not the exact same spell. It's a slightly different version of the spell, a tinkered version. So where Flux would be a slow and a damage over time if no one is close to them, the Tempest version applies a higher damage but more slow. That's cool because it's like 2 different debuffs, and if you put them together on one guy, you get both. So Tempest's version of the magnetic field applies range, adds magic damage to attacks, and has an increased duration. Tempest version of Spark Wraith. Oh, thank God. So if they tinkered with this, the really annoying Aghanim Scepter build from Octarine Core Spark Wraith map bombing was really annoying. So this one has a shorter activation delay, at 1 second, a faster moving Wraith at a higher speed, longer slow duration, but has a lot less lower damage. Let's go. Okay, so they took that strategy out of the game because God forbid anything super annoying is removed from this game, like OG Techies, 6.18 or whatever, Sniper, that one patch where he was just ridiculous, Tinker when he was ridiculous. Anything annoying, anything super annoying gets removed for sure. Meepo reworked, all that stuff. Ogre is too dumb to be an intelligence hero, so he isn't anymore. Whoa! Okay, so this was the trivia. They posted a little trivia before the patch saying there was a hero with no intelligence, and this gentleman has 0 intelligence. Okay, so he's strength. Interesting. So he just has 0 intelligence. What the fuck? Base mana increased. Damage decreased. So he has a new innate ability. Max intelligence is 0. Ogre receives 6 points of maximum mana and regeneration per point of strength. Interesting. Each 20 points of strength increases multicast chance by 1%. Wow. So you can make him beefy and crit more. This is perfect for a friend I'm thinking about. The durations have been decreased for Fire Blast so that the chances go high. I'm not sure. Wow, this is congrats, Ogre players. You are now a funny spellcaster, I would say. Dusa, I used to love Dusa. I stopped playing her, so let's see how she gets changed. Base strength to 0 to 0. Interesting. So is she like, instead of 0 in, she's like 0 agility or what? Mystic Snake rework, decrease, stone decreased duration. Ability from Mana Shield is a passive Starts with 1 level of mana shield and can be upgraded to level 5. And creates a shield that absorbs 98% of incoming damage for mana. But can you toggle it? Bonus mana, increases bonus mana, and damage points. So if a hero has a mana shield ability, now absorbs HP loss as type damage. Interesting. Passive ability. Meaning you can't press it. And if you can't press it, then you can't toggle it. And if you can't toggle it, then that is interesting. Okay. Stone form duration lowered. Talent here replaced with stone gaze bonus physical damage. So that she's all about the mana now. Interesting. One of her biggest weakness was always mana drain. So anti-mage diffusal. We'll see how that works out. Alchemist. So Alchemist got a pretty interesting change in the last patch. He was like a weird support flex role. But let's see how they tinker with him now. So cooldown of acid spray, cast point of acid spray, mana cost. So duration is decreased by 1 second, but acid spray overall a buff. Stun on unstable concoction is lowered. I think that discourages support. Alk. Greevil's Greed is now an innate ability. Max bonus gold, rescaled, all just to 18. Okay. And Bounty Rune Multiplier just rescaled to 2. Okay, interesting. He's got Corrosive Weaponry, a new basic passive that applies a stacking debuff that removes movement speed and status resistance. Applying a new stack refreshes the duration. Has no effect on buildings or Roshan. Max stacks 5, 7, 9, 11. Debuff duration 3.5. So he becomes a weird version of, he's just like a, kind of like a Ursa, Slark-ish type thing. I wouldn't say this is like make or break. No one really picks a hero just for something like this. You know, no one picks Slark just for the stats, although, you know, it's their kit. So with this kit, he can definitely help single out a target a lot more. Looks like Chemical Rage gets a little bonus health increase. Not too bad. Gravel's Greed stack. It's alright. I don't think it's much of a crazy thing. Let's take a look at the new items. Okay, so Blood Grenade, 50 health. So you can throw a grenade at the target area, costing 75 health. Enemies in the area will take 50 damage and will be slowed and take 15 damage every 1 second for 5 seconds, so 75 damage in the slow. And it has a radius. So, interesting. You don't need an Orb of Venom to really pursue people. If you're like bounty or something and you need just a little more slow to catch up with someone and murder them, Blood Grenade does the job. I don't think it's like super game breaking. It's just more early game action if you want to buy that. We have Diadem, which is a circlet on crack, +6 all attributes. Cornucopia, that's a cool item. It looks like a ring of health and something, or a ring of regen plus Aquila or something. Just, I guess a different type of Falcon Blade, like a cheap regen item with a little bit of damage. We have Pavis, 3 armor, 2.5 mana reduction, 100 health, and this looks like a support item for sure. 75 mana to activate the ability when cast on an ally, grants them physical damage barrier that absorbs 300 damage. Wow. Great. We'll see how many people pick that up, but it's a great item for only 1,400 gold. Sometimes blocking damage is just as good as a heal. Phylactery, 200 mana, 200 health, all 7 attributes. Passive Empower spell. The next unit target spell you cast deals a separate 125 bonus damage to the target and slows them for 1.25 seconds. Wow. So interesting. Extra damage on a single unit target spell. That already helps a lot of stuff. I'm already thinking of Sniper's ultimate, and it also slows them. But for a cost of 2,400, this is definitely tailored to more of the intelligence heroes or people that really are all in on spells, and their spell has to be good enough to warrant this high price. We got Harpoon here, 15 attack damage, 15 attack speed, 20 strength. Great for agility heroes. 10 agility, 16 intelligence, 2 mana regen. 4,500 though. That is a lot. When targeting an enemy, fire a harpoon at them. Yes. Pulls you and the target closer. So it's like reverse hurricane pike. Up to 35% of the distance between you and your target. If the caster is melee, the hero and target are always pulled within melee distance of each other. Causes melee attacks to... Oh, yo. So this works both. It's like a... what's it called? An Echo Saber. But it's an upgraded Echo Saber that you can use for range heroes to close the gap and hurt people. I don't know if this is good for someone like Drow, who gets their ult shut off by distance, but for Clinks or somebody that really needs the distance or anything, and this is a really cool item. I'm excited to see how people use it. And one of the big high-end items here, the Disperser, 20 agility, 10 intelligence, 45 damage, mana break, passive. So this is a diffusal upgrade. Cool. Very cool. And you dispel. What's with this dispel? Oh, you can dispel it off. And ability active suppress. So if you target a build, oh, is this old diffusal? Slows for 4 seconds. And yeah, this is old diffusal. But you can also target an enemy and apply basic dispel, increase their movement speed, and make them unslowable for 4 seconds. This movement speed buff is decreased to 0. Wow, this is a powerful item for only 75 mana. This is the upgraded diffusal. Wow. This has the implications to help your allies. So Yule's was a very strong item when you could use it on your allies. I think, I don't know, historically, I feel like that at some point, maybe that was in Han or something, but to be able to use it on your allies in Dota 2, it's an upgrade of the tornado item. I forgot what it's called. Yeah, what is that? Wind Waker. Yeah, so Wind Waker, when you upgrade Yule's, you can have Wind Waker and use it on your allies. And Disperser is the mana burning version of Diffusal Blade upgrade that you can do for yourself or allies or enemies. That is really cool. I miss Diffusal just not being stuck at some level. We got some new neutral items. Duelist Gloves, 10 damage. Grants attack speed as long as there are enemy heroes within units. Interesting. Spark of Courage provides 10 damage when the hero is above 10 health, 50% health. 5 armor when they're below that threshold. So pretty nice tanky item. Or farming item / fighting item. Gossamer Cape, tier 2, 20 movement speed. Automatically dodge an attack from enemy hero. Ooh. Is this too strong? 5-second cooldown. If you get cooldown reduction, does that reduce? That's is it evasion or is it dodge? If it's dodge and you completely soak up one attack, that's pretty strong, especially against crit heroes. Plus the movement speed is nice. Although, yeah, this item is just gonna get reworked somehow. It's gonna get tinkered with. 20 movement speed is a lot. But I mean, I think like they designed this with strength heroes in mind. But if you put this on a, you know, this item is useful for a very long time. But well, let's move on. I think it's pretty strong. Defiant Shell, 5 armor, 7 attributes, really good on anyone. When attacked, the hero counters a target within their attack range. So it's a, when attacked, the hero counters attack a target within their attack range. Whoa! What? Tier 3 item. This is a Blade Mail retaliate attack on crack. There's no cooldown, it doesn't look like. There's no chance. Oh no, there's a 5-second cooldown. Okay, so it's not as broken, but you do one attack back. This is gonna be super hilarious if you attack someone with like crit status and they just reverse crit you. um, interesting item. It's more. I feel like it's a little offensive than it more is defensive. We'll see. Vindicator's Axe. Vengeance. Get 25 attack speed. Provides 30 damage if equipped hero is silenced, and 15 armor if equipped hero is stunned. The bonus silence is interesting. I don't think it's like overwhelming, but the 15 armor when stunned is pretty, could make or break. Could be pretty good. The Dandelion Amulet. Bonus mana 300. Bonus move speed 25. Magic block. 12-second 300 magic damage block over instances of 75. Oh wow, okay. They just took like the active ability from, so you could stack magic block. That's, or like magic resist, magic block. Does this work with hood? Does this work with yeah, so I actually like this item because it offers a tool to prevent overwhelming like magic spell casting, like 5 team spellcasters. It's helpful. It's helpful. I think it's interesting. I don't see a lot of people using this, but I think that's why they added on the movement speed. Movement speed is always useful, and for a squishy hero like a carry who doesn't have a lot of HP, maybe this will save them with the magic block. And it's passive, so you don't have to worry about it. And speaking of more magic blocking and resistance, we have a tier 4, 20 magic resistance. And there's an active where redirecting 20% of all damage dealt to your allied heroes within 900 radius to you for 8 seconds. Oh, wow. Okay, so this is definitely for tanky people. I can imagine this is very powerful in Abaddon. But Ags, who is a trending hero of this previous patch, it's interesting. Can you die from this? 20% of all damage dealt to your allied heroes. I like the theme. It's definitely, the word martyr, right, is you don't just help people. It's at no cost. Someone is going to get hurt or even dying. But if you could potentially help your team, and 900 radius is pretty large. You could use this if you're like caught outside a black hole to just redirect 20% of damage and like maybe keep your team alive. This is a very interesting items. These neutral items have a lot of personality to them. I kind of like them. I also like the artwork. I think they're very cool. Exciting to see, and bringing some old favorites back. Ooh. See. Matchmaking changes. Ooh, a lot of people have qualms on matchmaking, right? Smurfing, the party matchmaking, the solo matchmaking, they split it up to classic and ranked roles, and I've run into a lot of games where people just queue all 5 roles and they ask for their normal role. Like, come on, dude. So yeah, let's be honest, 8 billion people on the planet, 99.99% of them are terrible at Dota. That's true. This means matchmaking can be a challenge, but if you're good at Dota and like playing with people who are almost, but hopefully not quite as good as Dota as you, okay, we've done a bunch of work in math to improve the quality of matchmaking across the board for all players of skill levels. That is awesome. So one change here, they have the matchmaking with confidence, rank, and rank confidence. Rank is an estimate of your skill. Rank confidence is the confidence in that estimate. So basically, this is like their Smurf detection formula, what that is, and the undesired clumping, the worst type of clumping, aka Smurf detection. So basically, the distribution of MMOs have shifted lower, causing an yeah, so I've seen this where there might be a bracket or a set of games that you play and you're like, wow, these people are really good for the bracket, or wow, these guys are really bad for the bracket. So it seems like they put a lot of thought and work into new and improved clumping. So they're switching algorithms completely, I guess, called Glyco. which should let you quickly and accurately get matched with players at similar skill level. On the math side, Glicko lets us better factor a player rank calculation, resulting in more accurate decisions. That's always good. I don't, since it has a name, I wonder if this is like an algorithm that was developed in-house, or maybe it's like an industry matchmaking thing. It's new or something, but I'm excited for this change. The switch to the new matchmaking system will feel like a start of a new matchmaking season. All players are placed in a short calibration, initially seeded by their previous rank. Calibration is no longer fixed on a number of matches. It's instead when a player considered calibrated when their rank confidence is above a certain threshold. So you can't just cheese it. Upon calibration, it's likely that you'll end up with a different medal than you had before. However, even if your medal changes significantly, you should expect to be matched with players of similar skill. Okay. Matches have no longer a fixed MMR gain/loss. Whoa, okay. Chill out, chill out. What does that mean? That could mean a lot of things. It will be variable based on a number of factors, including rank and rank confidence of the participants. However, we will cap the gain/loss per match to prevent particularly negative outcomes. Okay. Oh, shit. Okay, I think that's concerning for me because sometimes I do weird things like die an absurd number of times and still win. But if that is gonna tinker with the gain and loss, I don't know what that will do. I don't know what that do. But a win's a win, right? You're not gonna lose MMR from winning, but maybe you just don't get as much. So this is very interesting if they mess with this formula. But in the bracket of Immortals, at Immortal rank, knowing the other players, gelling with them, choosing a balance of roles is more important than just MMR. So we've redesigned matchmaking at the Immortal level to account for that. So at the Immortal level, things do get kind of weird. There's not as many players in that bracket, so you end up playing the same people, and that causes a lot of problems. Matchmaking or matches in the Immortal ranks won't use pre-made teams anymore. Instead, 2 captains will get to draft other 8 players onto each team, making your team more impactful than if you just relied on MMR to assign lineups. So if your match sucks now, you got no one to blame for yourselves, Immortals. God, I love this. Something that I've done better with is like played or one thing that contributed to a lot of my growth as a node player, going from like scrub to like all right. It's just playing with the same people and like playing real Dota instead of with randoms. So now at the matchmaking level, if you are a good player, you will want to be drafted by this captain. So that is so cool. And if you're a shitty player, you don't have to pick that person. So that is so interesting. Because what if there's like one terrible guy and one team gets stuck with a griefer? It's so interesting because now if you out yourself as a griefer, no one's gonna want to play with you, and you get picked last or something. It's like a weird psychological incentive to just play better and let players feel like they have a little bit more control whenever they find a match. So I'm excited to see what this change does. It does give me vibes like there's a couple of people that don't like me, and they will throw when they're on my team or try really hard on the other team. So I feel like this just makes the whole situation better for everyone. You know what I mean? Yeah, so that's exciting. UI changes, pretty cool. And balance changes. Ooh, okay. It's a huge list. So they expanded all 4 edges of the map, so it's 40% bigger. And I think that is really nice because now you don't have 100% complete control to keep people inside of their base. I think that's the worst experience I have is when I cannot leave my base because my team doesn't want to go with me, or I'm too weak and having a bigger map means you can reverse rat a little bit. You can kind of, slip out the back. This is very interesting. As day turns into night, Roshan uses the twin gates to teleport to the other pit. So on the Radiant side during the day, Dire side at the night. While going to the new location, he moves. So he uses the gate. So he leaves his pit, goes to the gate. He moves there and teleports to the other side. Interesting. Wow, what if you're Roshing and he leaves his pit to try to run to the other side? Roshan's current pit is highlighted, so that's nice. Some changes to Rosh. Any type of Rosh change is going to be interesting to watch competitive-wise, so I'm excited to see that. The Tormentors, this is the fine print. Tormentor has one health, mini boss, 20 armor, 55 magic resistance, and a damage barrier which regenerates at 100 HP per second, and it's 250 gold. Tormentors don't attack or move, but they reflect 70% of the damage divided evenly amongst all the heroes. So you definitely want to just show up. This is nice, because sometimes in matchmaking, I have people that just watch you do objectives. Now they can be useful. Just watch in the vicinity, and you can be useful. All reflected damage is dealt as magical. Does extra damage to illusions, so you can't cheese. And grants an Aghanim Shard buff to one of the 2 lowest net worth allied heroes that still do not have the shard when it dies. So God, I love it. This is like unions for support players. Like, support are obviously going to be the lowest net worth, and now they're getting shards if their team helps them. Wow. Oh, that is exciting. I love changes to supports and making the game more exciting for supports, because supporting can be pretty freaking boring, and things like this, it makes the game less boring for supports. Therefore, it makes more people want to play support and do it correctly, I hope. And yes, so that's exciting. So they respawn 10 minutes after their defeat, increasing their barrier regen by 100 HP and damage reflection by 20. So they can reflect more damage than what you do to them. Holy crap. So now they have 2 alternate exit paths near the offlane base tier 3 towers. Okay, so that's the little trapdoor that you can use. We talked about that. The power runes no longer repeat until all different runes have spawned. The first rune of the next cycle is always different from the last rune of the previous cycle. You don't get 2 regens. It's less RNG, so you get 1 cycle of rune. So now there's a whole skill thing. You take notes of what rune spawn, so you can know if you want to let it go or not. So like if the illusion rune is the last rune of the cycle, you can let it go. Or if a rune is coming up that's a regen haste or double damage, maybe you want to contest that. So pretty cool. And to shake things up, they put in a power rune. So if you want to count it, that's fine or whatever. Wisdom rune. They spawn every 7 minutes and grant 280 experience for each 7 minutes elapsed to the heroes that grabs it. Ooh, so we're gonna have a little roamaroni roaming people at 7 minutes. Very interesting, because if you can get the 6-minute rune, which is different from the water rune, I believe, make a play, you can like walk all the way over there and steal the wisdom rune. Interesting. Outpost no longer grants experience. Okay. They no longer provide vision or true sight. I think it's fair. Okay. 8 watchers, 2 lotus pools. So new camps here, the well units here are give regen, mana regen, HP regen, attack damage, armor. I don't really know. This only seems to apply if you really want if you really play a hero that does the whole creep business. Universal heroes. They Don't have a primary attribute, but they get 6 damage for each attribute of each attribute. So captain drafts now select 7 heroes from each attribute. Single draft. List of universal heroes: Abaddon, Bane, Batrider, Beastmaster, Brewmaster, Broodmother, Chen, Clockwork, Darkseer, Dark Willow, Dazzle, Enigma, Io, Lone Druid, Lycan. Interesting. Lone Druid, interesting. Marcy, Mag, Marana, Nyx, Pango, Phoenix, Sand King, Snap, Techies, Timber, Bench, Vino, Visage, Void Spirit, Windrunner, and Wyvern. Okay. See what happens. A lot of disables are reduced. Spell immunity has been reworked into debuff immunity. Okay. The debuff immunity is different in 3 ways: the spell application, debuff protection, and damage reduction. Spell application. All spells can be used on units with debuff immunity, even ones that don't pierce debuff immunity. Corresponding visual effects will appear and the spell will apply all of its debuffs on the target. So you can maybe magic missile, like Vengeful Spirit, stun someone with and throw it at them, but it won't affect them. But maybe it will affect them for a duration, and if that duration comes out or stops in that BKB, then the remaining duration is applied. The debuff protection: negative effects that don't pierce spell immunity will not have an effect for the duration. However, if the duration the debuff immunity expires before the debuff that doesn't pierce it takes effect, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, so that's what it is. Damage reduction: increases magic resistance and negates pure and reflected damage completely. So this is a pretty good item against Spectre. These effects only protect against spells that don't pierce debuff immunity. Physical damage is not reduced in any case. So here is the magic resistance for all abilities that previously gave spell immunity. Dawnbreaker Shard, Huskar Life Break, Legion Talent, Lion Shard. Interesting. Juggernaut has 80% magic resistance. That's nice, because Mortek can shoot him in the spin. Grimstroke Dark's Portrait has 95% magic resistance. These mostly affect PKB, so here's an example. And I really love this when they do the patches and something's too complicated. They give an example. So to cast Dual Breath, magical, it doesn't pierce immunity on you. You won't be slowed, but you'll still take the damage, but it will be reduced. BKB active, Primal Roar is on you. You'll be stunned, take damage, it will be reduced damage, but additional resistance will be ignored because physical. Wait. Additional magical from BKB ignored. Oh, because it pierces immunity. Okay, so it's not reduced. So it does damage. BKB is active. Silencer attacks you with pure. Oh my god, you don't take any pure damage. Fiend's Grip, you'll be stunned. And you will take 100% of the pure damage because it pierces immunity. That is a little confusing. I mean, I understand it, but I mean, your pop quiz at like 2 or 3 a.m. You might not remember accurately, you know? Okay, your BKB is active but expires in 1. Someone used Orchid on you. You won't be silenced for that 1 second, but you will be silenced as soon as your avatar expires. Now, you don't have to wait for the perfect opportunity to cast a spell on somebody in BKB. You can use it towards the trail end of it to make sure that when it comes off, that they're silenced immediately. That's a big game changer. That's huge. For that reason, all the disables have been cut in duration. So it's still skill dependent, and you can't just throw them out like casually. You have to still have a little bit of reservation trying to use it right when it ends. But this is a compensation for BKB not being as strong. Everything, all that stuff is not as strong. Very interesting. So Vengeful Spirit casts Magic Missile. See, magic doesn't pierce spell me. You won't be stunned or interrupted, but still take damage. It will be reduced because Magic Missile doesn't pierce spell immunity. Okay, understood. Changes to Gold Bounty for creeps. Melee creep increases from 1 to 0. 1.5 to 0. Range creep gold is halved, but the melee creeps do not increase in bounty. Rework gold assist formula. So old formula is 30 base plus victim net worth times that divided by number of heroes. Now it's a base 10 plus 50 plus victim net worth times a smaller rate, number of heroes. It's a slight tinker. All units will gain 15% movement speed during the night. Effect is doubled for heroes, but can be broken for 5 seconds upon attacking or taking damage from player controlled sources, similar to Tranquil Boots. So you definitely need some sort of movement speed increase for such a large map. Nighttime is fun time. Nighttime is fun time. So Night Stalker. Whoa, he's gonna be fun. HP per point of strength has increased, and intelligence increases base magic resistance per point. Damage immunity is calculated before any damage reductions. Oh, okay. So aphotic shield won't be consumed if they're damage immune. Very cool. HUD changed. And you can see, oh, that is awesome. So you can see how much pipe they have left. How much protects they have left. That's very cool. Oh, poor Ember. He's as an Ember spirit, you don't really know. So you just play as whatever, but people can really look at it now. Special health bars for wards and gadgets. Cool, I like that. HUD shows attack and attack speed and magic resistance stats in the portrait at all times. Interesting. HUD health cost is shown. Mana cost reduction now only costs target that means okay. Creeps. Aura gold. Not sure what that is. But they tinkered with the abilities. Stormcrafter. Initial damage 260, and the decrease is less. So Harpy Stormcrafter is one of the best creeps you can get as Doom in the lane, and it has just gotten stronger. Alpha Wolf, stronger, way stronger. Wow, increased crit by 100%. Ooh, okay. War Stomp duration, damage increased, stun decreased. Okay. What else is a good creep? Satyr Mindstealer with the mana burn. Base mana burn increased on levels. Level creep, I guess. So some abilities give an extra level to the creep, makes them stronger. Or maybe the creeps grow stronger over time, and then you can steal one of these things late game. So another good creep on Doom is the mana burn. Pretty good, I guess, on any other laning hero like Chandra and Enchantress. I don't really play them, but mana burn early is really annoying. Yeah, I don't really know all these other creeps. We talked about some of the new items. Cornucopia is a new item from the secret shop used for recipes. So phylactery is point booster, recipe, and diadem. Interesting. Mango has initial and max stock of 4. So you can't spam mangoes anymore. Okay. Clarity. Ooh, also has a max stock and initial stock. Salve and Tango. Yo, okay. They make Tome of Knowledge removed from the game. Wow. All right. A lot of changes in the first 10 minutes. Dust reveal reworked. Now creates an area that reveals and slows invisible units by 2, where the caster was standing. So around them, revealed units take 25 damage. The area lasts 12 seconds, and the debuff lingers for 8 seconds after they leave. So they made Dust a lot stronger. Sentries reduced max stock to 8. Restock time even longer. Wow, so sentries are much more valuable. Gem is much more valuable. Allies for smoke, can't use them for 2 seconds after application. Okay. So this prevents it's a buffer window for double smokes. Wonderful. Love it. Quality of life. Ring of health, decrease, void stun, decrease. Does this decrease Battle Fury? Does this affect Meteor Hammer? Ooh, I can't wait for the Meteor Hammer change. Cloak is now 800. Casual Cloak is worth buying, I guess. 20. Hood removed from the game. Okay. Eternal Shroud requires Cloak, Ogre Axe, Ring Health, Recipe. No longer has an active ability. Now passively converts 25% of incoming damage or pure damage to mana. And magic barriers don't stack. Recipe for magic resistance. The got nerfed. But barriers can stack. Bash, lower duration of stun. I like that. Perma stun's not fun. Overwhelming. Okay, so yeah, these abilities getting slightly nerfed. I'm okay with that. Ether Lens. It just costs more. Blink Dagger. Taking damage from enemy or heroes now mutes the item for 3 seconds instead of setting it for a 3-second cooldown. So this will fuck with the Tinker and refresh his. Arcane Blink no longer provides mana cost and cast time reductions or debuff applications. So what do you give? Range increase, cooldown. They blink faster. Why would you want this? Well, the other blinks have not changed. Battle Fury recipe changed. Add a cornucopia instead. Oh, interesting. So they tinkered with the Ring of Health and the Void Stone. They added cornucopia to kind of offset the changes. Okay. Blade Mail, damage, armor increase. Orchid recipe change. Cornucopia, awesome. Provides regen, pretty cool. Bonus decrease, I like that. Carry should not be buying this item, but they do anyway in the previous patches. Soul Rend no longer causes attack to have 100% chance to crit. It provides True Strike. There you go. They do not like this on carries. Vanguard. Regen bonus is lowered, so nerf. So maybe offlanes don't rush this item, abuse it. Crimson Guard. Rescale to 60% of the caster strength. So now this scales on strength heroes. Very good. The duration is lowered, but it's a stronger block damage. So if you stack strength, you can pop this and provide very strong barriers. Dagon, recipe change. So Diadem, Voodoo Mask recipe, provides spell lifesteal. Energy Burst provides 75% of damage done. Energy Burst now instantly kills non-ancient creeps. Kind of cool. And instead of intelligence, it's all attributes. So the cost has been rescaled, and it's more expensive at lower levels, but cheaper to max out. So this is a cool way to burst and like, oh man, the Harry Potter wars have begun, right? If you're a spellcaster, you have spell amp, you have spell lifesteal, you stack spell lifesteal, you can use this. So they made this item pretty fun, I would say. You heal. It's like it's like Necro's heal. It does damage, you get healing, and the inherent value is creating a gap. It's not necessarily, well, you still could use it for a heavy burst damage and murder people, but think about how often Dagon is used. It's used on like Tinker and maybe like a few other heroes, but now with the healing aspect, we could see this used in many different applications. Pretty exciting. Dragonlance strength bonus decrease. Okay. E-Blade will do 60% of the sum's total target attributes as their primary attributes when targeting universal heroes. Okay, that makes sense since it doesn't work on their primary attributes. Universal. Recipe for Yule's increase. Wind Waker. Cyclone cooldown decreased by 5 seconds. It's pretty huge. Movement speed is slower and regen is slower. Interesting. I always thought this item was pretty strong, but these are minor changes that could make it feel not as strong. Eternal Chain's Radius, so Gleipnir's is more skill based. This thing had a huge AoE, so it's fine. Mjolnir decreased from 900 to 800. Damage bonus increased. That's whatever. Glimmercake decreased from rest speed decreased. Total cost increase. Magic bonus resistance is up. Invisibility gives movement speed and magic barrier. Oh my god, it gives magic barrier, magic resistance at 25%, and movement speed. Wow, they made this item very strong for supports, and yet no one will buy it in pubs. Wow, that's an exciting change. That mana cost 90, sure, whatever. This is fun. I love support items for support games. Very cool. Helmet Dominator, one of the strong items from the patch, increased by 200 gold. Stats unchanged. You can't just rush it as quickly because it costs 10% more. Helmet the Overlord costs even more. So you don't get zooed immediately against like Beastmaster or something. The bonuses have been decreased. Thank God. This item is annoying. Holy Locket recipe changes. You get Diadem, Magic Wand, Headdress. Headdress, Magic Wand. Oh, Magic Wand's always been part of that. Recipe, Diadem. No longer provides bonus health or mana. Attributes from 3 to 10. Energy Charge has a visual effect when using ally. So we'll see. We'll see how they go. I mean, Glimmer Cape is way better. Lincoln Sphere, Ultimate Orb, Cornucopia. Health regen decrease, mana regen increase, but gives 10 damage. Mage Slayer, recipes down, cost increase up. Yasha, speed bonus up. Manta, speed bonus up. Medallion of Courage. This used to be a really good item at a couple of the patches. Cooldown increased, duration decreased, but a more stronger protect or reduction. Solar Crest, overall decrease, stronger, slower bonuses. So made the game, made it a little stronger, but less duration. Pretty cool. Meteor Hammer. This item terrorized the previous patch because it was so cheap and the duration was so quick. So the stun duration has decreased from 1.25 to 0.5 seconds, and it slows enemy for the duration. The burn and impact damage is increased. Okay, sure, you're using this to push. We'll let you do that. But in terms of messing with heroes, the stun duration is less, thank God. But they're slow. I think that is somewhat fair. Same channel time of 2 seconds. Octarine Core, components change. Tinker with the values. Movement speed on phase boots increased. Oh, I don't know about that. You make the map larger. You give the increased bonus move speed to move around the map a lot better. But in the lane, this 5 movement speed could be pretty nasty. Paratread's movement speed adjustment, refresher orb, double cornucopias instead of the perseverance to, I don't know, preserve size. 5,000, grants 20 damage, satanic damage, tinkered, scythe of vice, hex duration down by 20%. That's fair because of the BKB thing. And you can hex someone while the BKB is almost over, and when they come out, when the BKB is off, they'll be hexed. Shiva's Guard, speed is faster. If the owner dies with Urn of Shadows, now it gains 1. Cool. Wraith Pact removed from the game. See you later. See you later. Okay. Neutral item updates. You can share neutral tokens or send it to a neutral stash. You can no longer see your ally stash neutral items since you can't do anything with them. Okay. Possessed Mask on, Faded Brooch. Hey, Faded Brooch is back! Movement speed. Lance Pursuit still in, increased slow duration. Yee. Occult Bracelet. Wow, stronger. Seeds. Stronger. Trusty Shovel can can summon the kobold. There's a couple memes where the kobold would kill people. So there's one. So let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 tier 1 neutrals, and you can choose. Brigand's Blade is out. Dagger is out. Nether Shawl's out. People's Gift is adjusted for universal. GPM for Philosopher's Stone reduced. Orb of Destruction is now 2 with Corruption. Specialist Array of 25% increase in decrease in cooldown, which makes this way better. Vampire Fangs with cheap lifesteal. Gossamer Cape. So tier 2 items feel pretty good. Blast Rage is out. That item sucks. A couple more things. Flicker is gone. Witchbane is gone. Mindbreaker back to tier 4. I believe that's what it used to be at. Havoc Hammer, Stormcrafter. So now extra damage, 0.25 second silence and attack speed. Wow, Mindbreaker is a new cool one. Now we go to the heroes. Big update, huh? Abaddon is now a damage barrier, stacks with other barriers. Borrowed time, increased cooldown. It's alright. So, you know, a lot of changes on this hero that was being run carry. I don't know if it'll be run carry anymore. A lot of changes all at once. Talked about Alk, Ancient Apparition, stun duration slow change. Aghanim Shard upgrade removed. Now it does damage without the shard. Duration scales from 16 to 6 all the way up. Cooldown increased from lower levels. Now Ice Blast, you can upgrade your shard. Whoa! Ice Blast. Enemies hit by Ice Blast explosion are stunned with the current level of Cold Feet for 60% of their duration. So at max level, what is this global stun? Oh my god, so amazing. 60%, 1.2, almost 1.5 seconds at max level. This is amazing. Oh my god, AA is back on the menu. Anti-Mage, mana burn is decreased a lot. Percent mana burn has increased and plays a different sound when his special ability triggers. Link has increased cooldown. That changes, increases cooldown at lower levels, but actually rescaled. It's just increased. Arc Warden, get that guy out of here. Berserker's Call tinkered slightly at level 4. It's 0.2 off. Yeah, it's 0.2 off at all levels. Counter Helix rescaled. No longer uses pseudo proc chance, triggers after a set number of attacks. So 4 attacks to trigger. What? Interesting. Does that make it faster with no cooldown? So Ag Shard no longer has a proc chance. It does have a cooldown. But what happens when you hit the cooldown and you trigger it? We'll see. Reduces the cooldown of counter helix to 0, so you can spin a lot if you hit 4 heroes. Interesting. Bane. Enfeebles whatever. Brain Sap pierces spell immunity. Interesting. Nightmare doesn't do damage. Okay, that's fair. Fiend's Grip duration. Slightly. Still a good answer to BKB. Bat Rider, one of these. This guy has terrorized a couple of games, and he's been picked a lot too. So application has been decreased, damage per stack decreased, slow per stack decreased, flame break rescaled. Better. It slows more. The damage is rescaled to 5 seconds instead of spread out over 2, 4, 6, 8. Damage is increased. Firefly does not give vision, does not provide bonus speed, thank God, but the damage hurts more. So he's not one of those fast guys just terrorizing the game after buying Boots Travel. Thank you. But his base movement speed did increase from 310 to 330. What? That's like Luna level almost. Flaming Lasso does damage, increased to 123, 100. Damage takes every half second. That does a lot. Cast range increased. And duration decreased. And cooldown decreased heavily from 120 to 90 seconds. So he's a battler. He's a battler for sure. Beastmaster. Drums of Slom. What the? Okay, so every attack from Beastmaster or nearby unit causes him to bang his drum, dealing damage to nearby units and healing himself and units under his control for a portion of damage dealt. What in the world? Yeah, I'm not even bothered. What is that? Bloodseeker. Max health per damage decreased, so it does hurt him less. Pure damage. His shard is now dealt as a separate instance of damage. Cool. Cooldown on rupture reduced or rescaled. Move damage increased at lower levels. Blood mist. Now passively turns your overheal. Cool. Into a damage barrier. Up to 50% of your max health. It decays at 0.5% of your max health per second. And damage no longer counts as HP loss. It can be reduced by oh. So Bloodseeker is cool. If you're hitting someone, you start building up a shield. That's kind of cool. Bounty Hunter, Shuriken no longer mini stunts. Applies a slow. No stun is great. No longer disabled by silences, disabled by break. Shadow Walk doesn't slow people. Guard no longer gets charges. So they really hate this bounty hero. See you later. Brew. They just tinkered a lot of his bears. I'm not a brew player. I don't really know. Okay. Bristle now provides Warpath stacks with each quill spray released from his passive. Cool. Taking excess damage over quill spray threshold is maintained, and multiple quill sprays can trigger from a single source of damage. That is cool. So if you if you crit him for 1k instead of just releasing one, he can release like 3. And the mana cost on hairball is reduced. So pretty big. Whoa, go back. Pretty big buff on. Not that big, but like a really good buff in instances. I mean, buffs all around for Bristleback. Like, he's fine. Spider. It's percent damage now. That'll scale. Shard base attack rescaled to percent damage, so he doesn't suck late game. She doesn't suck that bad at late game. The regen webs have been rescaled. That's fine for me. I feel like it's really strong in the beginning. Spawn spiraling damage rescaled to early levels, so they compensated her less early game strong and a little bit more late game presence, which I think balances the hero because when people pick Brood, they stomped the lane way too hard and did nothing late game, but now it's like, putting things together. Centaur stun, recasted, cast point lower or improved. Damage rescaled to 40%. So Centaur looks like he got buffed. CK got stronger damage but less lifesteal from creeps. I would call that a buff. Chen grants gold equal to the creep's bounty when dominating it. Wow. That's buff for sure. Aghanim Shards also adds 1 level to the upgradable abilities of Persuaded Creeps. Buffs all around. His damage is lower. But he gets stronger as he gets leveled. So Chen's back on the menu. Or look for Puppy will definitely pick Chen. We already know that. Talked about the Clinks rework. Block. Paracogs applies barriers that are trapped in with him. Duration of knockback is shorter. That's fine. Interrupts most force movement abilities. Exceptions are lasso, hitch a ride, and walrus kicked. So I guess it interrupts fear too. I'm not sure. Rocket flare slows people for very slow. That's cool. It's a chasing tool for sure. Hookshot is reduced. Crystal Maiden 2 extra damage. Buffs all around for CM. Buffs all around for CM. Okay. Darkseer, one of my personal favorites. The tick interval has increased. A little bit of nerf. He got nerfed. Unless the universal change increases him, but I don't think it really does. Willow. Higher damage, lower stun. It's kind of what we expect from this patch. Dawnbreaker. Stun slightly tinkered with. It's no longer debuff immunity, but magic resist. Oh, debuff immunity with resist. Landing stun duration is lower. Man, these fights are just gonna... People are just gonna be able to play the game. The stuns don't last longer. People are just gonna be able to play the game. Dazzle. Hex duration decreased. That's a big... Well, that's the overall nerf. Shadow Wave, upgradable by Aghanim Scepter. Casting Shadow Wave on enemies releases an inverse Shadow Wave. The inverse wave bounces amongst enemies and dealing damage into them and healing. Oh, wow, that is sick. Dazzle also performs an auto attack on every enemy hit by inverse Shadow Wave. Plus, he's a universal hero. Could we see Dazzle carry? We could see it. Bad Juju, whenever a unit is affected by Dazzle spells, they lose armor. Can be activated to decrease the remaining cooldown of the other abilities and items. Like a little casting Bad Juju costs health. Each cast increases health cost by 50 seconds. Bad Juju cannot kill Dazzle, but can still be cast without sufficient HP. Cooldown 3 seconds. So they just like gave him the gas pedal. He can really gas himself by sacrificing his HP a little bit to reduce all the cooldown. Oh man, oh man, someone at Valve really loves Dazzle. Like, this character is going to be able to spam a lot more. DP was one of the popular picks, I would say. Pretty strong. Your duration is out. Spirits deal more damage the closer it is. Return back to her in order to attack again. Interesting. Okay, so I think that's a buff because I don't know. The further they are, I guess it's still the same damage, but if it's closer, I think it does more damage. That's what patch notes are implying. Disruptor, really popular pick as of late from the last patch. Aghanim Shard upgrade rework when cast on the ground. Thunderstrike remains dormant for up to 5 seconds. If enemy comes into that range, Thunderstrike attaches to him. If no enemy comes, it strikes the ground. It increases the number of strikes by 2 and the cast range to 1600. Huge. Okay. Truly a disruptor if you want to mess with blinks or anything like that. Glimpse damage reduced. And oh wow. Yeah, okay. So I guess this was one of the changes that made him very strong. It did a lot of damage the further they got glimpsed. This is pretty good damage. Kinetic field cooldown increased. So he hurts a lot more. Doom. So there was a perma-stun. There's a way you could perma-stun with Doom in the last patch. It was like Octarine, Octarine, Shard, and Centaur, and you could stun them for a good like 5 seconds, and they couldn't move or do anything. It was like a actual chain stun from him. So I don't know if this affects it completely. The radius decrease, that is interesting. You just get move speed and run away from this guy. Scorch Earth, so nerfs, I would say nerfs all around for Doom. So bad, so sad. DK, strength increase. While in Elder form, applies Corrosive Breath or Frost Breath in the Breathe Fire. Very cool, I like that. Stun duration is lower, okay. Dragon Tail lower, okay, so adjusted. Drow. Hypothermia is now granted from Scepter instead of Shard. Hypothermia damages increase, stacks increase, regen increase. Okay. Shard gives her a new ability called Glacier. She creates a hill of ice behind her, pushing enemies away from it. Any unit that stands on the hill gains attack bonus range and high ground advantage, and they cannot miss and gain flying vision. The front of the hill obscures vision and cannot be moved through. Whoa. So she creates her own high ground, which is very cool because when she's strong and pushing high ground, it gets really weird. But yeah, she has somewhat of a combat tool that's position wise, and 75 mana cost, pretty cheap, duration 8, cooldown 25 seconds. This is interesting. It's more of a survival utility tool versus a farming slash fighting tool, which is, I think, is fair. Earth Spirit. He got tinkered with, but I think he got a little bit buff. Yeah, I don't really know. I don't blame this guy. I'm not gonna try. Earthshaker, stun durations are slowered. You gotta use all your spells a lot quicker now. ET, same deal with most people. Flame Guard stacks with magic barriers. Magic absorb decreased. So just tinkering. Enchantress now increases the shard. You can enchant 2 units from shard. Wow. Enigma. Stun duration is just tinkered with when he's universal. Okay. Faceless Void. Bash duration decreased to 0.5 seconds. Chrono. Reduction in time. Now freezes the ability item cooldowns of anyone trapped in Chronosphere. Super cool. And prolongs the duration of time dilation for units trapped in Chronosphere. Pretty cool. He's all about the time. He's all about the time. Very cool. Inkswell, pretty big nerf to the high level stun duration. Movement speed a little bit's good. Cooldown is reduced a little bit. Strong illusion. Illusion is now a strong illusion, so you can't just gimp it as much. And spell immunity is placed with debuff and 95. Damn, this dark portrait is amazing. You just create an entire copy. That's amazing. Well, I think we'll see Grim once in a while. In pubs, at least. Gyro. This hero is so annoying as a support. So the stun, nerfed. Cooldown, increased. Shard, smaller range. Black, longer duration, more attacks. So yeah, stop picking him as a support. Play him as a carry is what they're trying to say. Hoodwink, stun tinkered with. And just overall nerf. Oh, look at this. Shard does not let you use Inner Fire, which is the taunt when you have the Scepter. Spell immunity replaced with debuff immunity with 50% magic resistance. That's part of the changes. Cold Snap, blah, IO. Aghanim Scepter ability can now be activated again to explode the spirits, after which they begin spawning again. Not be activated, its ability is on cooldown. Shakiro stun reduced. Liquid Fire increased. Damage penalty against buildings. Macropyre damage increased. Mana cost increased. Damage per second decreased at lower levels. Liquid Frost no longer mini stun. Jug. Probably the most interesting change with the spin, because now you can. It works like the BKB, but he has higher magic immunity. Instead of 50%, it's 80%. Cooldown on Omni is improved. Duration of Omni Slash is increased, or Swift Slash. So he gets, I think, overall a little stronger. Blinding Light is a basic ability. Solar Bind is a. So people stop picking this hero. Core, great. Thank God. Kunkka. Torrent, now area targeted with a 900 cast range. Oh, you could cast Torrent Storm. Cool. Instead of it circling around you. Elsie. It's a area around you. No longer increases movement speed, but gives you attack speed bonus. That's cool. You can like blink in self overwhelming odds and then fight. Especially in the middle. That's cool. I like this. This is more lore friendly. The radius is increased to 600. Now automatically triggered upon dual cast. You can cast it during the duel. So you can opt to hold it as people come closer, and then overwhelming odds. And then the duration is chill. Press the attack no longer increases attack speed, provides movement speed bonus. Holy moly. Oh, press the attack lets you run closer. So they made Legion more Legion than she already is. People like to use press the attack for the attack speed and the heal to go in and attack. But now you use it to close the gap, go in, attack. So much more lore friendly. Duel still lasts pretty good amount, just 0.25 seconds off at all levels. Aghanims. So wow, I like this change for Legion. I like that change. I'm out with one player. Lesh stun duration decreased by 0.3 seconds. Lich, when cast on a non-ancient creep, it lasts twice as longer and does a bunch of damage. Oh, okay. And duration is decreased a little bit. Lifestealer magic immunity changed, but otherwise untouched. Lena, cast range and speed, or cast range increased, and the duration is a little bit. And Flame Cloak grants max fiery soul stacks. So that's a pretty cool change. Lion, for a guy, he gets extra damage in compensation for shorter stun duration. Projectiles a lot faster. Okay, I think that is a buff. A lot faster. Mana cost has been rescaled to lower is higher, higher is lower. Hex duration increased. Nice. Duration tinkered with the global changes. And so Lion, I think he got buffed. Lone Druid. I don't know. I hate this hero. I don't want to talk about him. But he's a universal now, so we'll see. Luna, stun duration has slightly decreased. And the... Wow, okay, so her aura gives less damage to her allies, but she gets more of the attack bonus. So cool. Lycan universal hero, and people pick Lycan. So we'll see what happens, but the mana cost on Wolves is cheaper, and the Howl does not. Whoa. Mana cost is rescaled to 40. Now fears enemy controlled units, non-heroes. That's cool. It's an anti-zoo. It scares all the creeps. That's cool. That's lore friendly. I like it. I dig it. Yeah. Magnus, Shockwave, Shard. The Shard increases the Shockwave now, and Horn Toss is given by Scepter. Okay, that's fine. Marcy. Jump distance, rebound is the stun, dispose, radius. So looks like she got a little stronger. I think minimum jump distance. Oh, she has to be really close to her ally. She doesn't run that far now. Okay, so I don't know. I think she is less utility and more damage, which makes sense because she's a strength hero. But now she's not a strength hero. She's a universal hero. Okay, all right. We'll see how that works. Marstun retinkered. Sure. Do so. We talked about Meepo. Oh, so it now can be put on autocast. If the ability is an autocast state, when cast on a target, all other Meepo also cast poof to the target automatically, if able. So they just took out the micro aspect. When cast on the ground, Meepos accept the selected one poof to the closest location. And yeah, oh, new ability, Mega Meepo. Primary Meepo mounts all other Meepos in a 600 radius, rating him on top of the shoulders. While in this form, he gains 50% of the other stats and can fling them at enemies, dealing 225 damage and slowing them for 60 seconds. While active, Earthbind generates an additional nets, and poof deals bonus damage based on the Meepos riding on top. Holy moly. Meepo, they gave him a little bit of love. Maybe Meepo is back. Maybe he's back. Rana, universal hero, mana cost decreased at higher levels. For Starstorm, mana cost decreased for Arrow. Interesting. Monkey King, stun adjusted, lifesteal increase and damage increase. So I think they compensated stun with extra damage. Morphling. I don't really know. I'm not gonna. That looks too complicated. We talked about Muerta, Siren, Naga Siren. He can now target sleeping and vulnerable units without Ags. So Ensnare is strong. And we're gonna see Nagas. Damage decreased from Riptide at early levels. That's fair. Channeling is now interrupted. That's fine. I think we're gonna see Naga. Prophet, some people have been picking this. Sprout cooldown increase, mana cost increase at higher levels, but the cooldown increased. But after teleporting, he gets stacks of damage. What in the world? So less rat, more fight. Okay. Treants durations chopped off by 10 seconds, and damage decrease. And Treants nerfed for sure. Wrath of Nature no longer provides bonus damage from unit killed. Okay. Necro. Ability slow, reworked or rescaled. Death Seeker. Yo, okay. So he turns himself into a Death Pulse and flies at them. And then when he gets there, Death Pulse spreads to many enemies, nearby enemies and allies, cast range 750. So he actually gets to reposition and he can target anyone. That's awesome. So he has a movement ability now. He has an escape. And it can be blocked by Lincolns. Heals decrease, slow is decrease, regen is decrease. So we'll see. We see a mobile Necro. We've never seen the mobile Necro. We're gonna see it. Night Stalker, Aghanim Scepter reworked, but otherwise untouched. Makes void an area targeted spell. Applying it all in their invisible or fog of war. Creates a void zone in the chosen area. While he's in the void stone, his abilities are empowered to their nighttime version. So he also, oh, that's cool. He puts a little pocket of nighttime. That is cool. That is so cool. Lore friendly. Nyx, Universal Hero. Impaled now deals start of damage if being impaled instead of landing. Duration. Mind Flare. So instead of mana burn, it's Mind Flare. Deals damage equal to the intelligence plus 30% of the damage dealt by Nyx in the past 15 seconds. Cast range, blah, blah, blah. So it's cool. He's Vendetta does not remove 50% of the target. What? I don't even remember that. So yeah, it makes the mana burn stronger. On Vendetta, no mana burn, but Mind Flare. Interesting. Ogre, we talked about that. Degen, aura ability removed on Omni. The shard gives him Hammer of Purity, or is upgraded by Hammer. Upgrades Hammer of Purity, allows him to heal. Automatic next attack fires a Hammer of Purity. This gives a carry potential. Carry potential. Okay. Oracle disarms allies, provides magic resistance to allies. It doesn't disarm them. Cool. Okay. Interesting. That's quite the change. Reign of Destiny gives Aghanim Shard. It starts damage healing people. Huh. I've never built the Ags on Oracle, but this is cool. Now he seems like a cool healer. OD. Ag Scepter upgrade removed. Rejoice! Thank God. This is so awful. So awful having 2 charges with the Meteor Hammer. Oh man, this hero is so annoying. So Essence Flux are now increased by the Scepter. Damage that brings OD below 20 HP triggers a strong Dispel. Additionally, OD consumes all of his mana to provide a damage barrier equal to 50% of his max. Wow. Not be refreshed. Effect is disabled by break. Oh wow. So he gets a strong source of protection from Scepter. It's like an Aeon plus barrier. Kind of interesting. Now deals damage to all units. All units as in heroes? Treats the units without a mana pool as if they had 0 mana. Oh, this this murders what's it called? Ogre. Huh. Alright, Pango is now universal. Damage decrease, mana costs rescaled, decreased, I say 5 by 5 all around. Stun duration, anchored with, cooldown, increased. Wow, Pango just got slapped. No one likes that Pango here. Base attack range, PL reaches longer. Aghanim's Shard upgrades. So Spirit Lance bounces twice between enemies on the Scepter. Juxtapose can be activated to create one illusion, giving him invincibility. Oh, okay. So he gets a little escape with that. Interesting. Phoenix. Not much of a change. Primal Beast. Cast point, blah, 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 blah. No reduce damage block. Now pierces debuff immunity. Yeah, it's just, it's Primal Beast. I don't know any Primal Beast players gonna be looking at his patch notes. It is what it is. He just goes. Puck intelligence gain. Shard adds 20 bonus attack to Puck's attacks. Okay. Do anything else? Mana cost decreased. No longer pushes people away with the Scepter upgrade. Scepter upgrade. Here we go. They are attacked. That was the old 25 talent. So anyone in coil with the Ags is attacked by Puck. Hook. Increased speed. And it can be heard in Fog of War. Ooh. Bonus damage decrease. Bonus regen decreased. Okay. Cast range. Dismember. Increased. Duration tinkered with. Punch. Got some, I would say you got some buffs. Decrep. No longer increases magic damage taken. Instead increases heal amplification. Oh, what a buff from Pugna. And healing for allies for Pugna is no longer based on the damage allowed by life train. So I guess it just gives potential to upgrade. Quap, barely untouched. Razor, cooldown has been rescaled. But untouched. Riki, sleeping dart ability removed. Okay. So the shard now reduces armor and can't be targeted by their allies. That is interesting. That is very interesting. Definitely back to an assassin. Cloak and dagger gives bonus experience for kills and assists. Kill bonus 150. Assist bonus 100. So Riki is a complete assassination machine now. Rubik, values tinkered with. Sand King, new Scepter. Every 2 burrow strike. Every 2 seconds in Sandstorm creates 2 burrow strikes. Each one stuns enemies and deals damage. Interesting. Makes Sandstorm cracked out. Every 0.2 seconds. How long is a stun? Current level of burrow strike. Wait. Every 0.2 seconds creates 265 radius. So that's very small. Burrow strike spines at random locations. So this is a Crystal Maiden ulti version stun. That's cool. Shadow Demon. Buffs all around. But you only get 2 scepter charges instead of 3. I agree with that. 3 was really strong. Shadow Rays no longer slows turn rate on hit. Oh, okay. That's fair. Stacks loss decrease. Fear decreased. Every enemy hero killed near Shadow Fiend improves the armor reduction. Interesting. He's a good fighter, I guess. Fear duration decreased. Fear duration per soul hit. Okay, so fear just decreased, nerfed. Shadow Shaman increased at max level. And level 3 you hit 2 more. Wow. Okay, so Ether Shock is pretty good. 1357 to 3579. Hex values rescaled. Cooldown is decreased as a result. Mana has been rescaled at 50 mana level 1. Damn. Shackles mana cost decrease. Duration decrease. So now you definitely only need 1 point of hex for all. Interesting. Aghanim Scepter no longer increases Serpent Ward's attack range. That's fair, I guess. Sky Mage has this problem with trading mana. He gets lifesteal now if he casts spell lifesteal against that target. So he some sort of regeneration sustain. Slaughter tinkered with. Slark damage decreased at early levels. Cast range and depth shroud is reduced. That's fair. Snap. It's universal. Sniper. Aghanim Scepter stun is tinkered with. Concussive grenade damage increased. Shrapnel slow increase. Shrapnel DPS increased. Knockback decreased. So they tinkered him. Desolate no longer ignores evasion. Huge, huge, huge nerf. The attack must now land for Desolate to deal damage. So skipping evasion was really, really good value from that passive. Aghanim Scepter on Spectre, so now she's not jumping all over the map. Allows dispersion to increase damage reflected by it by 100% for 5. Only increases the outgoing damage, doesn't mitigate the increase in damage. So it's like a blade mail. Oh, so you don't really need to buy blade mail. You can just buy shard. Spirit Breaker values tinkered. Storm. Remnant increase in radius. That's good, I guess. Tinkered the overload and damage rescaled higher at late game. Interesting. Sven. Damage decreased at early levels. Duration decreased all around. Great Cleave increased at lower levels. Provides strength bonus. Warcry cooldown increased at lower levels. Duration increased. So I feel like that's a nerf. Techies. Universal Hero. Blast Off. No longer silences enemies, now stuns enemies. Okay, so what is the shard upgrade do? Aghanim Scepter upgrade move to Aghanim Shard. Minefield is upgraded by the Scepter. Increases effect radius to 1,000 in duration of 4 minutes. When an enemy hero gets within 200 units of the sign, the entire radius becomes a minefield for 10 seconds. Enemy units will take 300 damage for every 200 units moved. Minefield area is visible to enemies once activated again. The sign is destroyed after minefield expires. Only one mine sign can exist at a time. Interesting. So the shard gives reactive taser stronger stuff. Base attack range for Templar. Assassin, I think that is undid a change. I think that's normal now. Rescale to just flat 90. Trap can be sent to autocast mode. The ability springs a trap that's close to the cursor rather than okay. Quality of life for TA. Reflection. Buff. Fear nerf, just a global nerf. DB got buffed. Tidehunter, Anchor Smash. Mana rescaled. Cheaper at higher levels. Attack bonus damage increased. Ravage tinkered. Mana cost rescaled, decreased. Buffs for Tide. Timbersaw, you can upgrade Scepter with reactive armor. Can activate max stacks to gain max stacks and 200 HP barrier. This barrier gains 100 HP per second and increases 70 HP per each enemy hero within the range up to a max. Holy moly, it just turns him to a strength hero on crack. After 8 seconds, he loses the barrier and deals damage to every hero based on the barrier's damage. Wow, that's fun. That is fun. Chakram upgrade for the Scepter removed. Whirling Death makes Universal lose 5% of each attribute. Interesting. Wow, that hurts Universal Heroes quite a bit. Tinker. Cooldown increase. Cast range decreased by 20%. Damage increase. Tiny. Free Crab cooldown increase. This guy looks like he got nerfed. Treant's talents only got moved around. Troll can use items during the effect of his ult. Huge buff. You can BKB, you could bash, you could... That's a huge buff. Huge buff. Tusk, Snowball, Stun Duration. Tinkered with, speed, probably decrease. Okay. So overall nerfs. Underlord. Mana cost on Firestorm increase. Attribute Aura rescaled. Seems like a nerf for him. Even his ulti, it doesn't really matter that much. Oh, check this out. Undying Tombstone, upgradable by Aghanim Shard, allows up to one hero to bunker inside of the tombstone. The ally can bunker by right mouse button in the tombstone in a radius. Bunkered units cannot leave tombstone for 3 seconds after entering. Units that left cannot re-enter for 3 seconds. If Undying decides to enter the tombstone while another ally is inside, the ally is forcibly evicted. Undying also receives the grab ally ability, which bunkers the hero nearest the tombstone within 400 range. That is pretty sick. It's a hide. So does the hero die if the tombstone dies? Big question that didn't seem to be answered. Aghanim Shard doesn't increase the flesh golem, but the cooldown is increased. Vengeful Spirits, stun duration tinkered, bonus damage decreased. We'll see how that works. Vino, now a passive ability granted by Aghanim Scepter. So creates a ring of poison infected with Venomous Gale, which is that Q, I think. Right? Yeah, Gale is Q. Also triggers if Venomous Gale is dispelled from an enemy hero. Enemies hit by the poison take magic damage and have their resistance reduced. New ultimate ability, Noxious Plague. Infects an enemy with a deadly plague that does an initial burst of damage and additional damage over time based on the unit's maximum health. Enemies in a radius around the target are slowed, and values decreasing the further away you are from the enemy. Oh, so you just give somebody the COVID. When the target dies or debuff expires or absorbs, all nearby enemies are infected with a non-communicable version of the plague. Initial damage 2-3-400 and max damage as HP 5-6-7% over 5 seconds. Slow projectile speed is pretty good and costs a lot. So latent toxicity still the same. So interesting. We'll see. He got a new. They swapped out his ult. Viper Strike range. Cast range increased. So buff for Viper. Visage, whatever. Looks like he got buffed though. Void Spirit, tinkered, and I guess buffed from the barriers change. Warlock's Shard was removed. It is now... They added support on Upheaval for the Shard. Creates an imp every 2 seconds of channeling. These imps last for 15 seconds, deal a little damage, health, have 1 armor, and explode. When killed or expired, imps explode, dealing 60% of their max health as damage to enemies with a 40% radius. Lore friendly. Continuously seek out the closest visible and attackable target, but can be controlled. Okay. And stun duration 0.8. Warlock seems fun. Aghanim Shard on Sakushi increased to 12 seconds ago. Geminate cooldown is decreased, and that's an overall buff for Weaver. Windrunner, Universal Hero, improved projectile consistently. Always shackles the closest target behind the unit shackled. Failed stun duration is down. Power shot is increased. Aghanim Scepter no longer blinds enemies. I don't even remember what this does. Windrun. Winter Wyvern. Rescaled. Stronger later. SW, her W's faster. Curse is rescaled for the time. Witch Doctor almost completely untouched, but base damage increased and stun duration decreased. Okay. Wraith King, stun tinker, lifesteal increase quite heavily, but you get half versus creep. Skeletons do less to damage. Critical damage is now nice values. Reincarnation, scaled, pretty rescaled. 180 at level 1, but 100 at level 3. So you can kill yourself. You can cast and kill himself to resurrect if he has the necessary resources. So you can trigger it on demand. You can kill yourself on Wraith King. Now always spawns 1, 2, 3 skeletons to attack near my hero when reincarnation triggers. Shard adds extra skeletons. And Scepter now reduces the cooldown by 40 seconds and respawn timer of every hero dying under its effect by 10. Faster respawns by 10%. Is that as strong as people lingering around until they die? Probably not, but for the larger map changes, this might be a better application. All right, last guy, Zeus. Static field ability removed. Base damage decreased, but it does percent HP on the arc lightning. Mini stun tinkered. Heavenly jump now always moves Zeus forward instead of standing in place, and it doesn't increase enemy cast time. And new passive ability gained by Aghanim Shard, Lightning Hands, increases attack range by 100, and Zeus's attacks create arc lightnings that do 50% of his damage. Lightning Hands! Oh, hell yeah. Carry Zeus is in the house. Let's give him some attack speed. Oh, that's gonna be so fun. It's like watching a Maelstrom trigger every attack. Oh, wow. I played a game with Cap, and he played a right-click Zeus. I can't wait to tell him about this. Talents, tinkered with, and miscellaneous. Okay, this is also important. We've reduced the number of Rokyo tokens granted when you lose an all-row selection. Now you'll earn two tokens for a loss. Winning is 4 tokens. This changed out farming tokens. That is true. Removes captain modes from ranked. Cut all random deathmatch from unranked. Almost no one plays these modes, and queue times exceed 1 hour. That's a moment of silence, guys. This updates the legacy model editor. Blah, 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 blah. I don't know what that is. Okay, and that's it. Thank you guys for watching this patch analysis. I had a lot of fun going through the patches. We should see a lot of exciting things come for the competitive scene. There's a major coming in 6 days. It's the Berlin Major 2023. And a map change at TI is always going to be exciting, I think, along with all these changes. I feel like just jumping in and playing the heroes. But other than that, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.